Good evening and welcome to Season 4 of Assetto Corsa Competizione presented by Apex Online Racing. This is Tier 7 and it's Round 7 Bathurst or Mount Panorama in Australia. One of the more challenging circuits on the roster this season. Bathurst is renowned for being a difficult circuit. It's very tight, very narrow and consists of 23 corners. Some very long straights, Mountain Straight and Conrod Straight you can see there on the track map. But the S's at the top of the mountain are incredibly difficult, and the course between corners 2 to 10 is also extremely challenging with tight, narrow concrete walls. One tiny mistake on this circuit and you're off, and your race is probably over, and you're back to the pits for a lengthy set of repairs. Let's ride on board for a lap of the Bathurst circuit. As we pass underneath the bridge, we pass the start-finish line and commence the lap. And it's a very short straight in towards Hell Corner. 90-degree left-hander, keep it tight, not too much curb on the way out. It's a really long straight now down Mountain Straight, and looming up in front of us is the mountain itself. Taking the car all just into top gear just as we reach the end of the straight. Braking hard just as you pass the little service road off to your left. Down into third gear and it's through Quarry. Accelerate up the hill, and the next turn to our left is the cutting. This is very tight with no leeway on either side if you make a mistake. Steeply uphill in towards Griffin's Mount. Lift off the throttle and turn right and it's straight into Reed Park. Dropping down into Frog Hollow. And then as we turn left it's past Sulman Park. As it, the next corner is John Hicksman Vista, then McPhilly Park, and then we'll hit Skyline. Brake hard as you pass underneath the barrier, and be careful as you enter the S's. Steep downhill, left, right, all the way down. This section requiring maximum concentration. Any mistake and you're straight in the wall. It's through the dipper. Accelerate up towards Forest Elbow just in front of us. And you can relax for a moment as you enter Conrod Straight. Time to hit maximum gear, and the engine will be hitting maximum revs. There'll be nothing else for the car to give. And just when you can't think you can go any faster, keep your foot down for the quick right-hander into the chase. Brake hard, just for 100 metres, all the way down to second. Flick it back round to the right. And it's the last straight before the last corner, Murray's Corner. Brake hard again at 100 metres, down to second gear, left turn, and it's over the line to complete one lap. So let's have a look at the drivers' table going into this round. Nils Nins is still in front with 447 points, having had a good race at Misano, finishing third. Conal McCarthy had a bit of a nightmare at Misano with a PC disconnect just before the start of the race, meaning he had to do a recovery drive all the way from the back and managed to finish a highly credible 7th, which meant he kept his championship hopes alive. There's only 42 points between himself and Nils with 3 rounds left to race. Paul Martin also had a decent race at Misano, finishing just behind Conal, and he's now in third place, but with nearly 100 points behind Nils. Will he be able to move further up the table before the end of the championship? Third down to 6 is extremely tight, with barely 10 points separating all 4 drivers. There'll be ones to keep an eye open for in this race. Martin, Winspur, Domi64 and Wilson all fighting for the third place on the podium. Coming up further behind is Steve Bezic, Alex Marks, Manuel Dukes and Edward Crawford, all looking to gain points and move further up the championship table today. Moving on to the Teams Championship, Beeswax Racing are still in first place, following a good result for Nils Nins at Misano and a decent result for Stephen Bezic. Team Gently Bentley are still in second place with 639 points and might be looking for a decent result today to be able to close the gap further to Beeswax Racing before the season is over. Third to 5th place is still extremely tight, with just 60 odd points separating Visually Impaired Racing, Aston Martin Racing and Generations Racing. Simulation are still in 6th, but if they get good results today, they may well be able to move further up the table. Weather report for today's race is warm and sunny weather with a track temperature of 27 degrees. However, the race will start at 6 AM and the drivers will have to contend with sunrise as they're passing over the top of the mountain. Very dazzling, makes it very difficult to see the track. So let's have a look at the qualifying results for tonight's race. Qualifying in first place is Danny Winsper with a time of 2:04.1. Just half a second behind him is Connell McCarthy, and just 0.1 of a second behind Connell is Nils, I don't know his track very well, Nins. 4th and 5th have identical times, as do 6th and 7th. And the rest of the grid pretty tight, down to 12th place, and then they're into the 206s, and then from 13th with Domi onwards it's 207s, 208s. So let's move on to tonight's race. And we join the field tonight as they're commencing their rolling start. They're just past the start finish line, rolling round Hill Corner, and the green lights are on, and it looks like McCarthy's straight into the front of the race. Winsper, Nins, Tagarin, Duke, Bar and Sorg, Eugene and Martin, and Marquez round out the top 10 as we roll towards the start. All the key players for the Drivers' Championship mostly in the top 10. Wilson's in 11th, Domi 64.13, Bezic qualified in 14th, and Crawford looks like he had a difficult day today in the mountain. He qualified in 20th. He's currently 10th on the championship table. And they're working their way around the first lap. It looks like there's been no trouble so far. McCarthy's nicely in front, just pulling away by a fraction of a second of Tagarin, who's just behind him. The leaderboard on the left getting a bit scrambled up. But now as we cut through to Sorg attacking Duke. No, it's Duke on Sorg. Duke's got the inside line. Will Sorg hold on? It looks like they're running down Conrad straight towards the chase. Side by side all the way down, but it looks like Duke's just in front, pulls across. Yes, it is, and they're into the chase, just coming back round to the start at the end of the first lap. Close behind, I saw Nins, and it looks like Martin's there as well. And already we've moved forward onto lap 4, and it looks like an attack from Wilson onto Eugene. Eugene in the Lexus there, and Wilson in the Ferrari. Wilson just behind. Pretty close. Another Ferrari off to the side there, trying not to interfere. And Eugene looks comfortable in front there as they go around Quarry Bend and climb up the mountain. So Eugene held on to that position, but we cut to lap 5, and it's Eugene's teammate Crawford being attacked by Domi 64. Domi gets alongside. Oh, and I don't know what happened there, they both touched. Didn't look like either one of them really pulled in, but they both touched doors. And Domi 64 is just in front, just catches a bit of grass, but he's okay, and that puts Crawford behind. That'll move Domi into, of all places, 15th place. Domi must have had a bad start there to have dropped back so far. Crawford doing well to have pulled forward from starting in 20th. And we're on lap 6, and it's Wilson attacking Eugene from coming down the mountain. And it looks like Eugene just caught the wall, has stopped his car stone dead, making it easy for Wilson to sweep round. And Wilson's got Marquis straight behind him as well. Is Marquis going to get through on Eugene as well? No, it looks like they're holding side by side, but Wilson's clearly through. He's coming up behind Martin. So Martin currently in P6. That'll put Wilson into P7. Eugene trying to hang on to P8. Lap 9 now, and Wilson and Eugene again. Just coming down towards the chase. It looks like Eugene has outbraked himself. He's had to take avoiding action, got to the grass. Wilson just avoids him as Eugene slides across the track. That will cost Eugene dear. He'll have lost places through that mistake. And that will allow Marquis through for certain. So Wilson in 7, Marquis through into 8th place. And we won't be too sure where Eugene recovered from. It looked like a long way off track. So he won't be happy with that at all. Lap 9. Brakovic attacking Crawford. Brakovic takes a bit too much curb, but Crawford got through okay in the corner ahead, but looks like he went a little bit wide. Brakovic on the inside, they touch, but Brakovic comes away. Don't know how badly damaged Crawford may have been through that incident, but You can see the marks down the side of Brakovic's Porsche there. And Crawford's not behind. Lap 11, and it's Barr attacking Tagarin. Looks like they're coming down Conrad Straight up towards the chase. Very fast part of the track. Barr's got the inside line, which can be dangerous as the chase has got a bit of a right turn kink, but Barr's comfortably in front by the time they reach the chase. And into the corner is ahead. And straight in front of them will be Murray's corner, and then straight round onto the start-finish straight. And it's just the following lap, lap 12, and Tagarin's coming back at Suleiman Barr, trying to retake that place. So this is the battle for third and fourth. And Tagarin makes a nice line coming into Murray corner on the start-finish straight. Barr has a look on the inside, but he's not close enough, and it's round-held corner. And Barr's tucked in behind. It'll be up the mountain straight towards Quarry, but unless Barr's had a slightly better exit, there's really no way through on that straight. It's lap 14, and it's maybe Soglu attacking Brakovic on the mountain straight on the way up to Quarry. Maybe Soglu gets a good speed, gets the inside, but Brakovic stays on the outside, which is the faster line into Quarry. Maybe Soglu has to give it up and tuck back in behind for the climb up the mountain. In the background, I think we can see Tagarin, who must have just pitted and has come out and will be looking to get past these two as quickly as possible, move his way back up the field. Not what you want when you've just pitted, is come out what is technically going to be slower traffic. Lap 14, and it's Domi 64 and Martin, two championship rivals. I can see Martin's having a bit of a nightmare there. He was off into the grass and into the wall, so an easy pass for Domi. And I know during conversations after the race, Martin said he did not enjoy his journey up to the mountain at all. It was a very difficult race for him. He finished well down on his normal position. Lap 18, and we're with Eugene again. Eugene having a difficult race, I think. He's down in P16 now after battling constantly at the start of the race. It looks like he's coming up on Brandon. I think this action may have taken place. Brandon looks at quite a distance off up the road. So Eugene, having had a successful start to the race at Bathurst, falling behind, won't be happy with that result at all. Lap 20, and it's Memi and Brandon both going off in sympathy with each other, bouncing heavily off the wall. I think it's Memi who gets away first after that incident, and Brandon dropping slightly behind. Both these drivers down in 17th and 18th position, and from the looks of those collisions and the looks of the state of those cars there, they're not enjoying their visit to Bathurst and the mountain, and they've seemed to have left one or two mementos attached to the scenery. Lap 21, Nils Nins, who was our championship leader going into this race, and is now down in P17th. So he's had a difficult evening. He did say going into this race that he found the mountain very challenging, very difficult. One small mistake and your car's wrecked. And he said normally he has difficult social races and then a good result on the night. But he's had difficult social races, and it looks like he's having a difficult result on the night. And it's lap 26, and it's Steve Bezic and it says Paul Martin, but that's an Aston Martin, not a Bentley, and I think that might be Winspur going through, can't be certain. So I think the computer's got itself confused there. It's 489, I think. Yeah, I think that's Winspur. So that's being lapped for position. And if you look at the condition there of Steve Bezic's car, that's had more than a few contacts with the walls. And I can assure you, having been the driver behind the wheel, it was not in a very good state by this stage of the race. And I was concentrating more on getting it home. Lap 27, and it's Marquez against Murphy. Marquez gets good inside line for the corner, takes good position, and Murphy just to drop back a place. These two battling for 8th and 9th, so Marquez moves up to 8th, Murphy down to 9th. Looking like a good result for the pair of them. And lap 32, I believe we're coming towards the end of the race now, and this is Duke and Barr battling it for second and third place. Barr has a big mistake, goes to the grass. Looks like they're on the chase, I think, from where we can see them, and that gives Duke an easy pass. Yeah, he looks like he's coming down to Murray Corner. Goes left over the start-finish line, and that'll move him nicely up into second place. Barr's dropped at least half a second behind already. And that's a lot of time to make up when it's this close. Lap 30, and we're with Nils Nins again, whose evening has clearly gone from bad to worse. Down in P17, 4 points today, and looking at McCarthy in the lead on this stage of the race, it looks like the championship lead is going to slip from Nils over to McCarthy. And I'm sure this will be an evening that Nils will want to forget. He told me after the race he went through 2 cars on this race. Lap 30, and Eugene and Brandon. So this is down in 17th and 18th position. I can't see Brandon in shot, so whether he's in the pits or something, but Eugene's now in front, and the car in behind, number 89, is Marquez, who's in 8th place. So Eugene at least moving up a little bit on the field, but I know he won't be pleased with this result. We're on lap 31 with Oscar Memisoglu, who's just about to descend down the mountain. Just passing over the crest now and descending into the S's. A real challenge. This is what makes Bathurst so exciting and difficult for the drivers. Left, right, left and right. Very, very, very tight challenging. Any tiny mistake and you're straight into the wall and you're straight into the pits for repairs. Or you can be brave and foolish like I was and carry the damage all the way to the end of a race. Lap 34 and Sorg attacking Martin. This looks like to be down Comrade straight towards the chase. Sorg just on the outside, gets in a good position for the big left-hander. Gets in ahead of Martin nicely. Good clean overtake. And it's into towards Murray's corner and left turn for the start-finish straight, and it's clean past Martin. That puts Sorg into 12th place. And we're coming up to the end of the race, 43 laps down, and McCarthy's car looks pristine as though it's just rolled out the factory. No nibbles of the wall for him, and that probably explains why he's comfortably in front by 14 seconds to Duke. A comfortable win will move him into the lead of the championship, and with only 2 rounds left to go, will he face any serious threat from any other drivers? Let's have a look at the results from tonight's race. Finishing first was Conal McCarthy, who scores 100 points for the Drivers' Championship. Second was Manuel Dukes in Team Gently Bentley, and third was Solomon Barr. Danny Winspur comes in 4th, Lev Balukin or Tugarin comes in 5th, Domi 64 6th, Kieran Wilson 7th, Nikoili Kravnichuk is 8th, Stephen Bezic managed to drag his car across the line in 9th, Tyler Sorg finishes in 10th. So let's have a look at how tonight's results affect the Drivers' Championship. Conal McCarthy does move into first place with his win tonight, now has a total of 505 points. Nils Nins slips back into second with 480 points, so it's still pretty close between the pair of them with 2 rounds to go. Poor Paul Martin, with a bad result tonight on the mountain, slips all the way down into 6th place, allowing Danny Winspur, Domi 64 and Kieran Wilson all to move up the table. Manuel Dukes also moves up the table with a good result tonight, coming in 2nd place, moves him into 7th place on the championship. Steve Bezic slips back 1 more place into 8th. Solomon Barr enters the table in 9th place, and Alex Marquez is in 10th place. For the Drivers' Championship, your worst result will not count towards your points. So we've highlighted in red what is currently each driver's worst results. Now the points for 17th and 20th place are pretty minimal and unlikely to affect the outcome of the Drivers' Championship. However, for Steve Bezic, 14th is not too bad a result in terms of points and may well have a bit of an impact on his end score for the end of the season. Looking towards the Teams' Championship, Beeswax Racing continue their hold at the top of the table, but Nils Nin's bad result tonight means their gap back to Team Gently Bentley has been eroded somewhat. Visually Impaired Racing have pulled ahead of Aston Martin Racing, and Aston Martin Racing in turn have pulled ahead of Generations Racing. Both Edward and Eugene both having difficult races tonight. Simunation are still in there, and if a good result comes in for them in the next 2 rounds, they could well close up on 5th place. Next week's event takes place at Zandvoort in Holland. This will be a 60-minute race, and the tight and twist circuit of Zandvoort will benefit those cars that don't have a high top speed but are highly manoeuvrable in the corners. Join us again to see the result of next week's race.